Bing bong.
We are the New York Knicks. 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 Say go New York, go New York, go. Go New York, go New York, go. Say go New York, go New York, go. Go New York, go New York, go.
Go New York, go New York, go! It has been done, folks! 53 years of waiting is over. The New York Knicks, our New York Knicks, are NBA champions! It has been done. After so much wait, after so much disappointment, when it goes back to the Carmelo Anthony years and losing to those Pacers teams, when it goes back to right before Leon Rose, when they hire Phil Jackson and that disappointment, the Derrick Rose super team that was supposed to happen, even stuff before my lifetime, the Ewing layup, the Starks 1-for-12 game. So much pain has happened for us Knicks fans over these years, and all of the wait is over. It's over because your 2026 NBA champions are the New York Knicks. I got it here in front of me. Back from 2021, the Trae Young series. That was that first series in 8 years where they got bounced to the first round. I got my towel that says, ironically enough, we here. Because it was the Knicks' way of saying we're back and we're here. And boy, are we here. Are the New York Knicks here and on top of the mountain thanks to Jalen Brunson, OG Anunoby, Karl Anthony Towns, Mikal Bridges, Josh Hart, Landry Shamet, Deuce McBride, Mitchell Robinson, so many players played a factor in that Game 5, in that big win. They were down 16 at one point, obviously, in Game 4, down 29 in Game 4, and marching your way back in San Antonio to take a in New York to take a 3-1 lead going back to San Antonio. Greatness was accomplished time and time again, and a smile has been on my face since it happened. Your New York Knicks are NBA champions. It still hasn't fully settled in for me as a Knicks fan that this is real life, as I see them go on these media tours and be on the Tonight Show last night and Josh Hart and all them, and I saw Jalen get interviewed after the game with the goggles on. None of it feels real. It all feels like a dream, but it is all so real. The New York Knicks are your NBA champions. I can't stop saying the sentence. I'm so happy about it. So happy about the Knicks being able to get this done and become NBA champions. Like I said, for the first time in 53 years, the New York Knicks are at the top of that mountain thanks to Jalen Brunson in a 45-point closeout game in Game 5. One of two players all-time to have 45 points in a closeout finals game. It's only him and Michael Jordan. People said he is too small. People said he cannot be a number one option to lead your team to the finals. Well, what now, Becky Hammond? What now, Draymond Green? Because Jalen Brunson ain't too small to lead a team to a finals, because he has done it, and he beat a 7-4 monster and Victor Wembanyama. I mean, I will talk about in a little bit, but that dirty... I'm going to hold myself back from the words that I want to call Victor Wembanyama, because they're not nice words. But POS. is an easy way of saying it, a family-friendly way of saying it, even though I'm not the family-friendliest show. So I'll just say it. That dirty fuck Wembanyama. Going out there trying to injure players left and right, we saw it throughout the series, and it's not good for the league. I'll talk about him in a little bit. Doesn't even shake hands after the finals because disrespectful little kid is what I think he is. I think he's a disrespectful little kid. He's only 2 years younger than me. He's way better at basketball than I could ever imagine being at the sport of basketball. But what he is he acts like a kid. And the way that he's handled himself in the finals, he acted like a kid. And Jalen Brunson does not handle himself like a kid. Jalen Brunson handles himself like a grown-up. The first thing he did was go shake Miss Johnson's hands. The first thing he did was go respect some of the Spurs. Only Luke Cornett out of the San Antonio Spurs was the only one to stay on the court and shake hands and give the Knicks somewhat of a respect, somewhat of a congratulations. And if you look back at the time and time again throughout NBA history, it's the least you do. Even in those rivalries, the Cavs, Warriors, some of those dirty rivalries throughout NBA history. The only one you could go back on and remember a team not shaking hands, and it's lived in infamy, is the Detroit Pistons. And that's what Wembanyama did. Wembanyama walked off that court without shaking hands, and I think it's something that is going to haunt his career for the rest of his career, and it should. It should haunt how people think about him and how he is glorified as this so-called best player in the world. But he does stuff like this, and he doesn't carry himself correctly, and he's not the guy that these kids should be looking up to if he's going to be the face of the league coming up. I think the face of the league coming up was pretty clearly made in this NBA Finals. I think the face of the league right now is Mr. Jalen Brunson. Like I said about Jalen Brunson, he has 45 in Game 5. He has 32.6 points per game throughout the finals. Has 4.2 rebounds, 4.2 assists. He had 13 straight baskets in the fourth quarter of Game 5. Jalen Brunson is an absolute beast, an absolute manimal. And what he did was he put the team on his back in Game 5 and absolutely took over. And I said it on the episode last week where I was like, after that OG Anunoby tip-in, or no, this was before the OG Anunoby tip-in, but I was saying it to everyone after the OG Anunoby tip-in. I was like, he has won himself Finals MVP off of 2 plays. Like, there's no way you don't give OG Anunoby Finals MVP no matter what happens for the rest of the finals, is what I kept saying. And then Jalen Brunson dropped 45 in Game 5. And I was like, okay, never mind. Jalen Brunson has solidified his legacy of being a New York Knick. He has solidified being not only a top 5, but one of the 3 greatest Knicks to ever bear the jersey. And if he gets anywhere close to a second championship, he will be the greatest Knick to ever wear the jersey. Because you have to. He got the job done. You have to put him above everyone else who wasn't able to get the job done. He's better than Pat. Pat couldn't get the job done. He's better than Starks. Starks couldn't get the job done. He's better than Melo. Melo couldn't get the job done. He's better than Bernard King. Bernard King couldn't get the job done. I guess he did, but right? Bernard King has a championship. I'm double checking my facts. No, he doesn't. That's what I'm saying. He's better than Bernard King because Bernard King couldn't get the job done. Jalen Brunson got the job done, folks. It's over. He got it done. He got it done in 5. And he dominated every game. He had a clutch basket in every game. And I can't wait to see the photo that they choose for the statue that they put outside of Madison Square Garden for this man, because that's what he deserves. Put his number in the rafters right next to this banner. What Jalen Brunson just did for the city, he is easily a top 3 greatest Knick of all time. In my opinion, you could argue he's the greatest Knick of all time already. I don't have him there. I still have Walt Clyde Frazier as my greatest Knick of all time. But Jalen Brunson is now number 2. He did it. He has been the captain of this team, the key part of this rebuild. When you look through the timeline of the Knicks and Leon Rose and what happened with the Knicks, right? We want to break this down for New York, right? Jalen Brunson is now the king of this city. I can't wait to see what people are going to do for him for the parade on Thursday. With Jalen Brunson, what this finals appearance does for Jalen Brunson, right? For Jalen Brunson and his legacy for the New York Knicks is it took him from, when he was making those Eastern Conference Finals last year, and he was the star of this team and the star of this rebuild, and we were close, but we were not there yet. It was argument, is he the fifth best Knick? Is he tied with Melo? Is he this? Is he this? Is he that? But when you look at not only the finals run that Jalen Brunson was able to have, but the absolute playoff run that Brunson was able to have, the playoff run that Jalen Brunson put himself on. Throughout this entire playoff, he put this team on his back. And it's just, sorry if I'm moving slow today, guys. I'm feeling a little sick, but I'm just also baffled on thinking about Jalen Brunson in the playoffs, especially this year, and this New York Knicks team in the playoffs this year, and just what they've been able to do is so unreal. It was so unreal. And all of it is thanks to him. All of it is thanks to him. He has a 33-point game against Philly. He has 38 in that 22-point comeback against Cleveland. 33, like I said, in Game 4 against Philly. 35 in Game 1 against Philly. 39 in Game 6 against it, or in Game 5 against Atlanta. Just this Knicks team, just time and time again, and through him, played so well. And what made this team so special is, as much as I could sit here and talk about Jalen Brunson and how he's the third greatest Knick of all time, there were so many big plays made by other parts of this team that I don't know, sorry, I got distracted, but there were so many little parts of this team that showed up, and so many other players besides Jalen Brunson that showed up. The obvious one to talk about first, with the game-winning tip-in and the game-winning block, would be OG Anunoby. OG Anunoby had a ridiculous finals. OG Anunoby shot 64% through the playoffs. He had a 64% field goal percentage through the entire playoffs. OG Anunoby played out of his mind throughout this entire playoff series, or through this entire playoff run, and that was with him getting injured at the end of the Atlanta series. The man shot 64% from the field. Karl-Anthony Towns, through the first two games in San Antonio, looked like he was going to be Finals MVP. Looked like he wanted it more than anybody on the Knicks. He played out of his mind throughout this Finals run. Dominated dominated in so many ways that we haven't seen Karl-Anthony Towns play that well, and was willing to get down low, was willing to get physical, was willing to even sometimes shut his mouth and stop complaining and swallow it and go, you know what, if the refs are going to call it this way, we're going to play it this way. Josh Hart with big rebound after big rebound, big steals, being all over the court. Mikal Bridges, through that 13-game span, was the second best scorer on the team. He had an insanely good playoff run. And that's just talking about the starting lineup. That's not talking about Landry Shamet, who hits the big shot against Cleveland, who has a ridiculous amount of threes. I think it was 44 playoff threes. That's not counting, maybe Deuce McBride didn't have the best finals series, but he hit some big threes. Mitchell Robinson. Time and time again, Knicks fans have begged to trade Mitchell Robinson because he can't stay on the court and he can't stay healthy. And time again, I have been in the corner, me and some of the other people I know have been in the corner of sitting there going, no, Mitchell Robinson, you cannot let someone like that leave your team. He's somebody who does the small things so well. And he gets a big rebound late in Game 5 that helps solidify the Knicks to win that game and clinch the NBA Finals. So as much as I could sit here and talk about Jalen Brunson, I do have to give credit to the rest of the team. This was 100% a team effort. I love this team, man. From the top to the bottom, from Jalen Brunson to Tyler Kolek and Muhammad Diawara and Jeremy Sohan and even Precious Achuya, who was released earlier this year. So many players on this Knicks team that I genuinely loved so much. I love this team, and they were able to get it done. And you guys could see it in my passion about talking about this team. What this championship means for the city of New York. And not even just the city of New York, but Knicks fans around the country is so big after so much that we've been through. Seeing Lou Admonson in our starting lineup, Damian Dotson, Ron Baker, and so much pain through the Phil Jackson era, and IT is our head coach in the 90s or in the early 2000s, and there's just so much to break down about the past of the Knicks, and Knicks fans around the world deserve it. That it just means so much for the city. I mean, I'm online. As much as people are talking about, oh my God, like the city's burning, this and that, I'm online. I'm watching videos of people pick up garbage and help the sanitation workers. Like, I'm watching videos of people be so nice to each other in the city like I've never seen before, in such weird ways. And like the energy in the city is just so positive right now, and that's all because the New York Knicks have won the NBA championship. And when you break down the timeline of this, it all starts, right? If we're going to break down the timeline of this, I have it broken down. I really broke it down into 4 sections. Wow, I'm thinking about it. I got a foggy mind. I'm thinking about it. New York accents coming up. But I really broke it down in 4 sections, right? There's the start. There's the signing of Jalen Brunson. There's the Knicks go all in. And then there's the one move away era, right? So it all starts in the start, and it starts in the spring and the summer of 2020, where the New York Knicks go out and they hire Leon Rose to be their president of basketball operations, and they hire Tom Thibodeau as to be their next head coach. That season in 2020 and 2021, the New York Knicks would go 41-31. Julius Randle would make an all-star. The Knicks name that is where this towel is from. My We Hear towel is from. That's where you'll see the Knicks go 41-31, surprise many. They end up a 4 seed in the East. They play Atlanta in that first round of the playoffs. Julius Randle's an all-star. You get your first playoff appearance in 8 years since 2015, I believe. 8 years? No, 2013, 2014. Right? First playoff appearance since 2014. And the Knicks finally, for the first time under this new front office and new coaching in Thibodeau and Leon Rose, you finally feel like the Knicks are on this upward direction. That is where this begins, is in 2021, that year, right? Then 2022 happens, right? You have the 2021-2022 season, and that season is immediately after such a positive year in 2020 and 2021 for the New York Knicks, making the playoffs. So much positive coming out of that season. In 2021-2022, the Knicks fall flat. They disappoint. They go 37-45. They end up 11th in the East. They miss the playoffs. Julius Randle clearly cannot be your number one player like he seemed to possibly be breaking out to be the year before. He takes in a huge regression in the 2021-2022 season. And like I said, the New York Knicks don't make the playoffs. So the Knicks sit there, right? The playoffs are going on. Season is coming to an end. The playoffs have begun in late March. And the Knicks make a move. In a year after they have missed out on Kevin Durant is now over in Brooklyn. That whole big three, you missed out on that. You run it back with Julius Randle, you disappoint, right? Then here we go. In 2022, in March, it is announced the New York Knicks sign breakout guard, or maybe it was in May or June. I don't know. I read online it was in March, but now that I'm thinking of the timeline, March doesn't line up. The New York Knicks that summer sign breakout guard of the Dallas Mavericks, Jalen Brunson, who averaged around 16 points per game for the Mavericks that year. They went on a finals run, if I remember correctly. A stat that I've talked about beforehand, he led the playoffs in fourth quarter points through the Mavericks run that year in the playoffs. The Knicks signed him for 4 years, $104 million, and everybody takes a step back and goes, whoa, that's a stretch. That's a big contract for a player that is not yet to be proven that money. But Leon Rose and the New York Knicks saw something that nobody else did. And in that year, Jalen Brunson, in his first year in New York, he'd averaged 24 points per game and 6 assists. So you clearly see the step up immediately. Jalen Brunson takes an insane step up, going from 16 to 24 points per game. Takes over that role of the point guard that was so desperately needed, that scoring guard that was so desperately needed for the New York Knicks that they were missing with those Julius Randle-led teams. You know, RJ was a wing. You didn't have that one that could take over the game, and Jalen Brunson proved to possibly be that. Averages 24 and 6. The Knicks make the playoffs. They're eliminated in, if I remember that year, the second round. Then here it comes, the 2023 season. This is where the Knicks decided after that 2022 season that it is time to take a next step. It is time to see what we have in Jalen Brunson and the star there and Julius Randle and really go after possibly making this team a real title contender. And these moves start paying off. In 2023, Jalen Brunson averaged 28 points per game. And you start making moves later in that year. In February of 2023, the Knicks make a move, trading Cam Reddish, Ryan Arcidiacono, Svi Mihalik, and a protected first-round pick to the Portland Trail Blazers for Josh Hart. Now another move that was very heavily criticized at the time. A lot of people go, first-round pick for Josh Hart? Really? Really, Cam Reddish for Josh Hart? Cam Reddish is pretty good, but he struggled in New York. But, man, really? Then later, or a few months beforehand, I don't remember the exact timeline of those two trades. I remember these being around the same time, though. Another trade happened. And the Knicks go get key piece to the 2019 Raptors championship team, OG Anunoby, trading former third overall pick RJ Barrett, trading fan favorite key bench unit player Emmanuel Quickley, and a second round pick for OG Anunoby, Malachi Flynn, and Precious Achiuwa. Now, at the time, both of those moves were very heavily criticized. especially by Knicks fans. Knicks fans were very upset about the OG move. RJ was a fan favorite at the time. He really started to develop. IQ, absolutely huge part of the bench unit. Knicks fans loved Emmanuel Quickly. I have a picture of him on my phone from right before he got traded when he used to, his cousin, I believe, went to St. John's. He used to go to every St. John's game. I got a photo with him once. But Knicks fans were very upset about that. Not only that Josh Hart trade, like I said, Knicks fans very upset given first round pick. A lot of people didn't feel Josh Hart was worth that. Both of those moves end up being some of the biggest moves that the New York Knicks could have made. They end up finishing the 2023-2024 season with at 1532. And Leon Rose and the New York Knicks sit back and they go, we got Josh, we got Jalen, we have Dante. What if we get ourselves the Nova Knicks? Everybody talked about it, the Nova Knicks with Josh Hart and Jalen, and part of the reason why Josh was brought in, he was a former teammate of Jalen's. Thibodeau and Leon Rose felt that Josh Hart would help them both develop together, and it was proven very well. Same thing with OG. OG gets traded to the Knicks. A lot of people, he had yet to really take that next step, takes that next step fully into that star two-way player that we had seen in the finals this year. The Knicks go make a move. They trade 5 first-round picks, Bojan Bogdanovic, and a pick swap for Mikal Bridges to the Brooklyn Nets. I believe it was the 5th trade ever made between the two franchises. And everybody sits there with their hands on their head going, 5 first-round picks for Mikal Bridges? That's a lot, New York. If you don't get my trend of what I'm saying here, it's time and time again that these moves by Leon Rose were really, really, really heavily criticized by Knicks fans and basketball fans around the world. He then gets Mikal Bridges after that loss to Indiana in the second round. You get Mikal Bridges. Then after that, to start the next year, you then make another big move, trading another fan favorite, trading Julius Randle, Dante DiVincenzo, and a fan favorite, and a first-round pick to the Timberwolves to make a blockbuster deal and go get yourself a superstar in center, Karl Anthony Towns. And the Knicks end up finishing that season, last season, as many know, 51-31, third in the East. They lose in the Eastern Conference Finals in 6 games. After an insanely good playoff run, a great Boston series, you end up losing in the Eastern Conference Finals. Then the Knicks make another shocking, heavily criticized move, and Leon Rose decides to fire Tom Thibodeau after an Eastern Conference appearance and hire Mike Brown. One of the most polarizing moves among Knicks fans of this whole entire rebuild position was that move. A lot of people liked it. A lot of people liked the move to fire Tom Thibodeau. I was on the board of that. I think Thibodeau didn't use his bench well enough. Was Mike Brown the guy? I didn't know if he was the guy. I said that. You guys can go back to last season when I say that. I don't know if I didn't know if firing Thibodeau was necessarily the move, but I didn't hate it. I didn't like how Thibodeau didn't use his bench. I didn't like Thibodeau's system, but I liked how he built a hard-nosed culture in New York, and I was scared of that changing. And Leon Rose brings in Mike Brown, and Mike Brown does not decide to change that culture. What he decides to do is build that culture up more into what it could be. Have them play better team basketball. Have the bench be a little deeper. When you see names now like Deuce McBride be really big, and Landry Shamet, and Jordan Clarkson, and Mohamed Diawara. And now, here we are. After all of that timeline that I just ran you through, here we are. A team that wins 13 straight playoff games. A team that sets the NBA record for point differential in the playoffs. A team that goes 14 or 15-3 in the playoffs. A team that is 6-2 in games, in playoff games where they trailed by double digits, including a 22-point comeback and a 29-point comeback. And all of that amasses to our star player leading the team with 45 of our 49 points in Game 5 in our closeout game of the NBA Finals. May I say it's any better? And the other thing I do really want to say about, especially this guy right here, Victor Wembanyama. What I want to do to Victor Wembanyama is that I want to hit him with a backhand across the face. Victor Wembanyama is not good for the league. If you go back and look at the plays throughout this entire playoff run that Victor Wembanyama had, it starts with the elbow. In the playoff, I'm going through the whole playoffs. It starts with the elbow in the Minnesota series on Naz Reid, where he should have been suspended a game, but he wasn't. Okay. Then he's physical with Chet in the OKC series. Extremely physical with Chet in the OKC series. There's not one play that stands out to me, but then the finals happens. And I watch Victor Wembanyama do dirty move after dirty move after dirty move. I watch Victor Wembanyama try to injure players left and right. That closeout play in Game 5, where thankfully Jalen Brunson does not break an ankle or tear an Achilles, is one of the dirtiest basketball plays I have ever seen. It is the exact replica, just at the top of the key instead of the corner. It is the exact replica of that Zaza Pachulia play that happened to Kawhi Leonard that made the rule of a landing zone a real thing in the first place. It is literally, you watch Victor put his arm up and go, what, and look down. The clip where he tries to set the screen on OG Anunoby and tries to jump into the back of his heel. When he grabbed Jalen Brunson by the back of his head and shoved him to the floor. It is not good for the league. And Adam Silver, you got to do something about it. You got to address it now, Adam Silver. You cannot allow this kid to get away with what he's getting away with. You cannot allow it. And you cannot prop him up to be the face of the league while he plays like that. You got to do something about it. Because I'm not going to deny the kid is good at basketball. Victor Wembanyama is extremely good at basketball. And it is historically proven that stars in this league have to go through an early playoff exit. Bless me. Thank you, Logan. But it's been proven that those have to happen for greatness to break out. And I don't deny that Victor Wembanyama is going to have an opportunity to be great in the National Basketball Association. But you got to nip this dirty play in the butt now, Adam Silver. You cannot allow this to continue if he's going to be the face of your league, if he's going to go out there and try to injure players. Because what you're going to do is you're going to create a generation of dirty basketball players. What you're going to do is create a generation that's going to go out there and be okay with trying to get away with physical, dirty basketball plays. Not just physical basketball. I'm fine with physical basketball. I'm fine with a nice bump and go up. I'm fine with all that. But if you're gonna prop this alien up to be the face of your league when he is clearly on the biggest stage of your league, going out there and trying to injure other players, and your referees are blatantly ignoring it, It's a problem. You got to nip it in the butt now. Because as I said, this team is going to be good for a long time. I will be honest, and I will be the first one to say it. This San Antonio Spurs team is going to be good for a long time. They are very young. Dylan Harper's 19. Wemby's 22. Castle's 23. Their oldest player is De'Aaron Fox at 29. This team is incredibly young. You got to do something better now, Adam Silver. You got to. Because that French fuck is a dirty ass player. It's not good for the league. It's not good for the league. Things are good for the league. The Knicks winning the championship are good for the league. There are things that are good for leagues. People winning championships are good for leagues. Justin Gaethje winning Freedom 250 is good for the UFC. You know, let's talk about that. Let's talk about that. Justin Gaethje. Justin Gaethje. I'm not going to talk about his fight first. I will move on to UFC 250, actually. But, man, the Knicks are NBA champions, guys. The New York Knicks. I will run down UFC 250. What a card, man. What a card. All 7 fights end by knockout TKO. All 7 fights are absolute bangers. You have the favorites winning the first 5 fights. And then Cyril Gane and Justin Gaethje saying, hold my beer. I'll start with the Diego Lopez-Steve Garcia fight. I think that one went as many expected it to go. I don't know if anybody actually, no. I'll give Steve Garcia this. Steve Garcia had a fantastic first round. Steve Garcia came out a lot hotter and a lot faster than I was expecting him to. But once Diego Lopez got in his zone, it was just a matter of time, and it was just a matter of him finding his strike, which he did, and he absolutely put the lights out of Steve Garcia. So Diego Lopez does what Diego Lopez does, and he wins that fight. And then the next one, we saw Bo Nickel versus Kyle Daukaus. This one, I bet over a round and a half on this one, and goddamn, Bo Nickel. I knew that my bet was screwed, and I was trying to say it wasn't, but I knew that my bet was screwed when Bo Nickel got a takedown, 12 seconds into the first round? And then just absolutely dominated that whole first round. They finally get up, and he rocks Daukaus, and from that moment on, the fight was over. So shout out Bo Nickel for getting a big win on a big stage. Mauricio Rufy knocked out Michael Chandler, and okay. First of all, let me say this. I thought this fight would go a little bit longer, too. But has every Michael Chandler fight just become him running away? Like, I used to love Michael Chandler because it was him just constantly moving and fighting and getting in these bloody battles. But it has slowly now developed into Michael Chandler getting rocked early and just running around the border of the octagon trying to survive until he gets knocked out. And at this point in his career, he's 38. He's towards the end of his career. I don't see where you go next for Michael Chandler besides somebody like who's going to be a late main card event. Like he's not going to be somebody who's going to be headlining cards anymore. It's not somebody who's really going to have an opportunity to even fight somebody like a Conor McGregor at this point. Unless, like, the reason you might still get that Conor McGregor fight is because after a loss to somebody like a Mauricio Rufy, if Conor McGregor does get absolutely pieced up by Max Holloway like people expect him to, you could maybe see that fight develop, but I don't see that happening at this point in Michael Chandler's career with the way that he's gone. Like I said, going into it, he had won one of his last 6, and now he's won one of his last 7, and that one was a very old and aging Tony Ferguson. He has struggled ever since those first really few bangers in the UFC that he has had, and it's just been a huge fall for Michael Chandler. And it was honestly, as much as I used to say that I love the pit bull of that Michael Chandler could be, it has really just become this shitty type of fighting where he gets rocked early by these big fighters, and he just runs around the board of the octagon for 2 minutes, a minute and a half to 2 minutes, until he gets trapped and gets caught a few more times and gets put on his ass, which is what happened with Mauricio Rufy, who just started spamming spinning heel kicks at one point, which is like it was a joke. It was a joke, and he absolutely beat the fuck out of Michael Chandler. There's nothing more you could say about it. The next fight, Josh Hokett versus Derek Lewis. The headline of this fight isn't even the fight, even though Josh Hokett, again, beat the absolute living fuck out of someone, which was Derek Lewis. He did the same to Curtis Blades. He has done it time and time again. I felt like we all kind of knew what was going to happen from this fight. Could you be surprised if that fight was going to end in a KO TKO? It's Derek Lewis versus Josh Hokett, I just knew Josh Hokett was going to get him. Josh Hokett is something that you really haven't seen in the heavyweight division. He's somebody who wants to be a heavyweight. He's not somebody who wants to try to cut down and be a big fighter in a weight class. He wants to do the opposite. He wants to just fight at heavyweight and be this small, fast, quick heavyweight that has these giant hands who's going to beat you to every punch, and that's what he did against Derek Lewis. He looked so much faster than Derek Lewis, was out there throwing spinning heel kicks, doing all of that, and just beat the absolute living hell out of an old Derek Lewis. But like I said, the headline wasn't even the fight for this one. It was Hokett's post-fight comments about Michelle Obama being a man, which I think we could all go on the record and go, Josh Hokett is easily the most hated guy in the UFC now for saying just this dumb shit over and over again. Like there's no reason to go on a UFC mic and say something as blasphemous and as ridiculous as that and act like it's funny, and like the character that he puts on, like pretending he was drunk and throwing up at weigh-ins. It's just such an annoying thing, and I really need somebody like we'll talk about the future of Alex Pereira and what weight class he's going to be in, but if Josh Hokett really wants that fight, I do think Peloton could put him out, and I think somebody really needs to punch that dude in the face and shut him the fuck up. Like, I really need somebody to shut Josh Hokett the fuck up. That's all I hope for. But moving on from Josh Hokett, we get a fan favorite win in Sean O'Malley getting the knockout over Ayman Zahibi. I mean, Sugar Sean just put on a classic performance. I really thought he was going to battle this one to decision. It's not like Zahibi fought poorly, but Sean did classic Sean things. He was patient the entire time. He was hitting his spots as well as he could. And had a send-off knockout as Sean does, you know what I mean? Hits a 1-2 combo and salutes as he's falling, which is always fun to see. So shout out Sean O'Malley for that one. But that then brought us into our co-main event of the night, which was my man Alex Peloton Pereira, one of my favorite fighters, against Ciryl Gane, who I did not expect this fight to go this way. And yes, the controversy of Ciryl Gane blows to the back of the head is one that I definitely see the side of. And I'm not going to say they don't play a part, but I think it is also partially just a lot of us Alex Pereira fans really just having a hard time swallowing the loss. Where Ciryl Gane he did it to Yuri as well. Or not Yuri, whoever it was he fought before. He does have a history of striking fighters in the back of the head, and there were definitely a few there against Alex, but I don't think there was as many as people say they were. And I think Alex was on wobbly legs after that first straight anyway, and then he got hit with a combo on his feet, and he was kind of out on his feet. And whether you say that is because of the few elbows or strikes, whatever they were, that hit to the back of his head, or if that's because Ciryl Gane was actually just hit him that hard with a straight, that's up to your opinion. I'm not going to be the one to decide for you. My opinion really is, I don't know. I'll be honest. I don't know. I think it's iffy. I think when you look at that, I think it's something that has to be addressed about Ciryl Gane and his fighting because he has such a big history of it. But do I think those 3 or 4 strikes to the back of the head necessarily were the reason Alex was out on his feet. I can't say that. So what is next for the two fighters? I don't know. Like I said, it's all whether Alex wants to cut back down to light heavyweight or not. That's the decision for Alex Pereira to make. I don't think he knows what he's going to do yet. But, you know, it's not like he looked bad at a heavyweight. He just got caught on a straight. And we'll see how that goes for Alex. We'll see if he wants to move back down. In my opinion, I don't think he's going to want to. I think he's just going to want to start to relax and kind of have a few more fights at a heavyweight before maybe he calls it quits. I think we are getting towards the end of possibly seeing Poatan. But, yeah, I mean, I'm trying to be honest. I don't really know. But yeah. And then the main event, man. The main event, man. Justin Gaethje did something to Ilia Topuria that I think a lot of UFC fans have really been waiting for. I think as much as Ilia grew into a fan favorite, it was kind of forced among us because he just wouldn't lose. And when people just don't lose, they become fan favorites for that exact reason. But again, at the end of the day, I think he just wouldn't lose. And I think when that happens, with the attitude Ilia had, I think in the back of a lot of people's heads, as much as they called themselves Ilia fans and had money on Ilia, including me, I didn't call myself an Ilia fan, but I had money on him. Wanted to see what Justin Gaethje did to him happen. And it wasn't, you know, him getting knocked out clean. It was exactly what Justin Gaethje said in an interview beforehand. And I don't remember if this was with somebody else or if this was on the McAfee show or if this was on First Take. I don't necessarily remember exactly where the interview with Gaethje where he said this was, but he had an interview with Ilia where they had the side-by-side cameras going and all of that. And Justin said the thing of, I love this out of you, Ilia. I love that you know you're going to knock me out. Because once we get to the second and the third round, you're going to start to worry. And that's where I'm going to really start to shine. And yes, did Justin get his ass kicked in the second round? He did. And did Justin have a great first round, which was unexpected? He did. But it was exactly that. You saw that out of Ilia Topuria's confidence in his striking and his endurance as well, that once we start to get to the end of round two, as good as he was doing in that round, his gas tank really started to hit and he really started to slow down. And you know, when you saw that slowdown happened in round three, Justin just started piecing him up. And Justin just started honestly going crazy. And I mean, shout out Justin, man. He really put on one of the best performances that I think I've ever seen out of Justin Gaethje. Just absolutely outclassing and beating up Ilia Topuria. I felt a lot of people thought that upper hook of Justin was what Ilia was going to try to take advantage of because Justin does tend to kind of open his chin up a little bit on that uppercut, but Justin's uppercut was landing like it was nothing. And he just came out and absolutely shocked the world and made not only this was the only fight where technically the fighter wasn't finished like out cold and a ref stoppage. Ilia quit. Ilia's corner quit on the stool. Ilia quit on the stool, man. That's how bad Justin beat him. Justin beat him to where he couldn't see out of both eyes. Like, this man was walking out of here like you know those funny pictures when people get stung in their, like, eyes by bees and they're like, because their eyes are so swollen. That's what Ilia looked. Ilia did not look okay. Justin Gaethje absolutely destroyed Ilia Topuria. So shout out Justin Gaethje. He is now your new lightweight champion. He has given Ilia Topuria the first loss of his UFC career. And we go from here. I don't know. I think Ilia was going to want a rematch. I think Justin's got a point where he goes, I made you quit on the stool, brother. Like, I don't know if you you deserve a rematch. And that's if Justin doesn't retire. And if he does, what a send-off for him. But, I mean, UFC 250 was an absolute banger, man. Absolute banger of a show. Whatever you want to say about it politically, non-politically, from a UFC fan's perspective, it was beautiful. It was amazing. Watching Justin Gaethje walk out, staring at the Declaration of Independence first, and just all of that was actually, like, in my opinion, it was one of the coolest things I've ever seen in sports. Whatever you think about it politically, just keep that to yourself. I don't really give a fuck. I really don't, because I don't give a fuck about it politically. I cared about it as a sports fan. I thought it was cool. I thought the spectacle of it all was very, very cool. I genuinely did. And I think there were better ways that fighters could have handled it. I think there's better fighters that could have been on the card. I think there are better fighters that could have been off the card. I think, obviously everyone said that when it started, no John, no Connor was disappointing. But we are seeing the return of Connor in a week or two. So, yeah, there we are. But, I mean, that's all I got for you guys today. I mean, World Cup's exciting. I haven't really been paying attention because the Knicks just won a championship, so I've been celebrating. So, shout out the New York Knicks. I will see you guys all next week. I'll actually see you guys, hopefully. I might throw a TikTok live stream up on the parade on Tuesday, so stay tuned to my TikTok to see that because I am going to the parade on Thursday. So, tune in for maybe a TikTok live stream while I'm at the parade. Split decision. We took a week off. We will have a nice celebratory Knicks episode on Friday. But that is all I got for you guys today. Follow me on social medias. Like, subscribe, hit that bell icon, all of that basic YouTube stuff. Thank you guys for tuning in. I am Logan of the Log Show. Go New York.
Bing bong.
Go New York, go.
Bing bong.
I will see you guys next week. Peace out.
We are the New York Knicks. We are the New York Knicks. We are the New York Knicks.